our team just a little bit more. I know it's like late on a Friday, and we've been talking about this stuff a lot, and I really want to just give you my movie review, although I don't think I have any new movies to talk about right now, so I'm going to have to watch one over the weekend. But there was an interesting exchange here between Adam Schiff and Elise Stefanik, and this is how it went. Please play it, my good man.
To you, Ms. Stefanik.
Thank you, Mr. Nunes. Ambassador Yovanovitch, thank you for being here today.
The gentlewoman will suspend.
What is the interruption for this time? It is our time.
The gentlewoman will suspend. You're not recognized. Mr. Nunes, you or minority counsel.
I just recognize.
Under the House Resolution 660, you're not allowed to yield time except to minority counsel.
The ranking member yielded time to another member of Congress.
No, that is not accurate.
You're gagging the
That is
young lady from
accurate.
New York.
Ambassador Yovanovitch, I want to thank you for being
Gentlewoman
here
will
today.
suspend. You're not recognized.
This is the 5th time you have interrupted members of Congress, duly elected members of Congress.
Gentlewoman will suspend.
Mr. Chair, we control the time. It's been customary to this committee that whoever controls the time can yield to whoever they wish. If we have members of Congress that have a few questions, it seems appropriate that we be able to let Ms. Stefanik ask her question.
Mr. Nunes, you or minority counsel recognized.
Ooh, iron fist Adam Schiff going on here. Not going to allow anything to happen that is not within the Democrat setup rules here. Why is Stefan? I mean, it's clear that he wasn't going to let that happen. Now, it's customary within the Congress. They've looked at these specific, or they've created these specific rules for this process right now. But it is customary in the Congress in general, in the House of Representatives, for somebody to be able to yield time to another member if they choose to. So what Schiff is saying is, no, that customary rule no longer applies because the Democrats want different rules now for this. Oh, okay. Just so everyone's clear on that. But Stefanik also got a bit of attention earlier in the week because a fellow, and I'll name him, it's probably the most attention he'll get on radio all week, a fellow named Matthew Dowd, called out Stefanik and said that she's a good example of how just because you're a woman or a millennial doesn't mean that you're the kind of leadership this country needs or something like that. It was like a really nasty and very anti, I dare say, an anti-feminist thing for him to say. Dowd is a moron. I've interacted with him on Twitter a few times. He actually has blocked me, and I'm a very polite fellow, even on Twitter for the most part. He's blocked me. He says very stupid things. He's the senior political analyst at ABC News, which tells you a lot about ABC News. I guess they can't find smart people to be senior political analysts there. They can only find people who, I think, leave their wives to cheat on the campaign. I think he was working on a campaign and had an affair with the wife of the guy he was consulting. It was like some complete just disaster. And I'm not somebody who gets... It was professional / personal disaster. It's just like that guy's a mess. But ABC News, chief political correspondent. The guy's never said anything intelligent about politics in the 8 years I've been doing this. Never said anything that was, but he worked for Bush like 15 years ago. Now he's an independent, not even a Republican anymore, but he always gets to comment about the Republican point of view or the Trump point of view. He is one of the worst. I mean, if you're asking me, who are the worst political analysts on TV? Matthew Dowd, definitely top 5. Anna Navarro, definitely top 5. I mean, the people that are just could not be much dumber, less knowledgeable about anything worthwhile, and also are nasty and not good people. So I should probably come up with a list of the 5 worst political analysts. I could definitely, I could rattle off a bunch, but I want to give you those 2 are definitely in the top 5 worst. They're in the top 5 absolute worst. There are a few others that would come to mind very, very quickly. But nonetheless, that was an exchange that shows you, one, I think they don't want to allow a woman to ask any questions or they want to prevent Stefanik from asking any questions of Yovanovitch, because Yovanovitch's whole thing is she's like, oh, it's so sad, and it's like, I got fired, and it's very much there's an emotional component of all this. One good point I want to make here. This comes from I've got a few things here. Nunes has said, not sure why Yovanovitch is even here today. This is the House Intelligence Committee, not the Human Resources Subcommittee for Employment Disputes. She didn't witness any of the events that are under discussion today. Yeah. Good point. Why is Yovanovitch even... Why do we even hear from this person? Why do we care? Why should we care? They don't have any good answers to that. And then also Nunes, according to my friend Sean Davis here, Nunes yielded time to Stefanik, and Schiff told her she's just not allowed to speak. He's done that repeatedly to her today. Stefanik noted this was the 5th or 6th time Schiff told Republicans they weren't allowed to ask questions. And even Eli Lake, who is not a pro-Trumper, said that Schiff seems threatened by Stefanik. And that's where we are. There's a very clear optic they're trying to run here of, Trump is bad and Trump is mean to women and he was mean to Yovanovitch and he's just such a mean guy. This whole thing today is a total sham, a total waste of everybody's time. And I think you should keep in mind that down the line, this is going to fall into the hands of Mitch McConnell. And Mitch McConnell is going to be the one who is left to deal with this in the Senate. And Chuck Schumer is already trying to lay the groundwork for what that's going to be like and trying to make sure that there's not any Republican slapdown of what's been going on here in the Congress so far, which is just the whole thing is, it really is an abomination. It really is an abomination. I want to get to Kevin McCarthy actually real quick here. Warning him, because you hear a lot of talk about the threat to our democracy and how Democrats are trying to, save our democracy and all this other nonsense. Here's Kevin McCarthy on Alexander Hamilton and the reality of what's really going on here. Play 8, please.
Yesterday, Congressman John Radcliffe left a question to these two witnesses who have never met the president, were not on the phone call, has not talked to the chief of staff, and asked them, what do you see impeachable? Is there one impeachable item in there? They could not answer one. Remember what we're discussing here. We're talking about removing a duly elected president. You take that so lightly. We have the transcripts. Alexander Hamilton warned us that this day may come, that a person may have the majority within sight of Congress to use impeachment for their own personal political gains.
That's where we are. They keep talking about how the president is using his power for personal gain in the context of Ukraine, but just in general. What about the fact of what they're doing against this president? Using impeachment as just a very obvious political weapon in an election year, no less. This is, like I've been saying, the precedent here is very, very bad. One more thing. Aaron Mate, I don't know who this gentleman is, got a blue check. He pointed out the following about the Roger Stone verdict. Roger Stone was found guilty on charges stemming from his false claim of a WikiLeaks back channel. In reality, he had none. Let that sink in. The top proponents of Trump-Russia WikiLeaks collusion are now pretending that this verdict doesn't undermine their conspiracy theory. He didn't have any WikiLeaks back channel. The Russia collusion thing was a total nonsense, total fantasy. But because he lied about something or because he was acting stupidly with regard to another witness, they're going to throw him in prison for years and years. It's just absurd. The whole thing, my friends, we are living in like a theater of the absurd now, run by the Democrats. Now, I do not watch a lot of professional sports, as you all know, because I always say that. I just don't have time. I got to read about stuff and learn about things to talk about here on the Buck Sexton Show, and that doesn't leave me a lot of time to do the sports stuff. Plus, I'm trying to get to the gym and be a little healthier these days. Probably should start eating stuff other than cheese, red meat, and French fries. I should probably vary my diet a little more. Bacon. Myles Garrett, though, came up on my radar last night as I was preparing for the show today. And producer Mark, did you see this, by the way? You see what happened here? So you got the Steelers playing the Browns, and the Browns, from what I understand, are a terrible team, right?
They're actually pretty good this year. They're
really?
fighting for a playoff spot. They have been perennially terrible.
Oh, okay.
They're turning it around, though.
See, I was not really up on things. And at the end of the game, and who won the game, by the way?
The Browns.
Okay, the Browns won. So it's the end of the game, and there's the quarterback of the Browns. The quarterback of the Steelers, Mason Rudolph, got into like a little scuffle with this guy, Myles Garrett, who's a D end and a very large fellow, right?
It's a very good one, too.
And a very good one.
Yes.
Okay, so he's like
first-round pick a few years ago,
but he's like almost a 300-pounder, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, probably.
Probably like
between 250 and
250.
250
okay,
300. They're a little faster now.
Yeah, so he's a large fellow, and he pulls the helmet off of the quarterback, and then there's a little more of a scuffle. I watched the video a bunch of times. It was all over Twitter last. I was looking to do political stuff, and this was like taking over my feed for a while. And he swings and he cracks him pretty hard over the head with the helmet, right?
Yes. Direct hit.
What do you do you think? Some people were saying, I was seeing people last night who were saying this guy should go to jail for this, which
a little much.
If he really injured the guy, I'd say yeah. But I mean, I think the quarterback was okay. I don't think he had any real damage from it. But what do you think is the proper punishment here? I'm just curious.
I mean, it already came down from the NFL. He's suspended indefinitely. So at least the rest of the season and playoffs, then he has to meet with the commissioner to find out if there's going to be any more suspension after that.
Oh.
So it's already been
out
handed
for the
down.
season.
He's out for the season. He's gone immediately. So this was within hours of this happening. This came down about an hour or two ago.
Oh, okay. So that seems like the move here.
Yes.
That seems like the right move on this one. Man, I think there was somebody else who did something years ago. I saw a clip of someone doing something somewhat similar, pulling off a helmet and swinging at somebody, but didn't hit him didn't clock him quite as hard.
I mean, that's one of the most heinous things I've ever seen on a football field. It's just crazy.
What is the single worst thing you've ever seen in professional sports in terms of somebody like breaking the rules and messing somebody up?
I mean, there's two. There's the Malice at the Palace, the Pistons versus the.
Was that when the guy?
It was the Pistons versus the Pacers. They got the people in the stands. Ron Artest.
Wait, I remember it was. It
was 03.
Meta World Peace.
Yes, Ron Artest.
Yeah, also known as Meta World Peace.
Yes, Meta World Peace, and a couple other players went into the crowd, fought fans. That was terrible. And then also in hockey, Todd Bertuzzi, this player, took his stick and cracked it over the head of another player and it basically paralyzed him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, those are the two of the worst. And now this one's up there. Now there's not an injury that comes with it. Thank goodness Mason Rudolph seems to be okay, but those helmets are heavy. You could have killed him easily.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way that can be left unpunished like that. I was thinking, I don't know if you've seen this one, because I used to watch a fair amount of basketball growing up. Remember Kermit Washington? If you've ever seen this, there was a brawl. I don't even remember who the teams were, but he ran in the center of the court and he punched Rudy Tomjanovich in the face and shattered his face, broke his jaw. It was nearly killed him, almost killed him with one punch to the face. And Tomjanovich was never the same afterwards.
Yeah.
So sometimes these guys in sport, they can really mess. I didn't know about the hockey one.
Years in hockey, this was normal fighting. Now it's pretty much, there's not that much fighting anymore.
See, that's a little sad for me, though, just because even though I prefer that people not be, hurting each other, but that was one of my main points about why hockey is terrible, was that if it was any good, people wouldn't have to fight to make it interesting. But now you're telling me that one of my main lines of attack against hockey is no longer particularly valid.
Correct.
That makes me a little sad on the inside. Yeah. So now it's really about the skating and the strategy and the stick work or whatever.
And how fast they can skate.
Yeah. It's not about
how fast they move on two little slivers of metal.
Yeah. No, that's a different thing than what I was used to. So, all right, maybe I should. I keep saying that producer Mark and I are going to go to a hockey game at some point. I think we will have to do that. We'll do a little social media. I'll be like, I've heard it's cold though.
I mean, what did you expect it to be in an ice rink?
I don't know, but I just want to make sure that I'm properly bundled up.
I mean, I wouldn't wear a winter coat, but a little hoodie wouldn't be a bad idea.
We'll have to make this happen. But yeah, so the sports thing last night, that was the big story that I saw. This guy Myles Garrett. There was also, I don't know if you caught this. There was an ESPN reporter who, without any evidence, an ESPN reporter, the height of sports reporting, was like, oh, this guy probably said something racist, right?
I don't think she explicitly said racist, but she alluded to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty.
She
bad.
deleted it immediately.
That was pretty
Even she
bad.
knows how dumb that was.
It's
Yeah.
pretty bad. This guy attacked somebody in a way that's horrible and egregious. So like, well, like maybe in this case the white quarterback said something racist, so he kind of deserved it. That was the implication of what went on here. So
Obviously, I mean, Mason Rudolph definitely insinuated it, like instigated it. Excuse me.
he instigated
the fight, but he did not deserve to get hit with a helmet. Nothing excuses getting hit with the helmet.
Right, because I see these guys like sometimes they push and shove a little bit, and there's a little, there's
that's
like
normal.
and they'll bang their helmets against each other, and there'll be flags thrown, but that's kind of like football. I mean it's a penalty,
Yes.
but it's not. This was like, what if someone like pulls out a mallet and like hammers somebody in the face?
Basically,
that's not football anymore.
And then the center that was defending the quarterback kicked Myles Garrett in the head. He got 3 games, but he's suspended now.
I mean, I think you're allowed to take, I think shoving or throwing the guy off him is, but if you kicked him in the head on the ground, this stuff gets dangerous. These guys are very large and strong.
Yes.
Except for a little quarterback. I don't know. He doesn't.
Little backup quarterback too.
Little backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what happened last night, folks. This is what was getting all the. Well, everyone was trying to get ready the night before. We have this big. I didn't know the Roger Stone verdict was going to come down today. Oh wow! Look at this. I see on Drudge Report. Alex Jones, Trump must pardon Roger Stone. Pardon him, damn it. Illuminati, Bilderberg, it's crazy what's going on. Do you know Alex Jones, by the way?
Yes, I've seen videos of him.
Yeah. I mean, enough is enough. Alex Jones wants some pardon. Gotta get pardoned. It's a little upsetting because I pretty much said that last hour. Buck and Alex Jones agree.
It's not someone you want to agree with.
This is not a good headline. It's like, I don't like that kid. He's got the super hair. He thinks he's all fancy and stuff. CIA, deep state. He's a deep state player right there. I can tell.
Maybe it'll be a good thing if he comes after you.
He has before.
Get some publicity.
But like, it didn't last very long. Whatever. He said I had hair like the guy from Bob's Big Boy. I was like, that's so. I don't even know what that is, but that sounds mean.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a food. Like you get the burger. It's like
okay.
bad.
I'm picturing the big donut guy from The Simpsons with that little swoop of hair.
Wow, I look like the big donut.
I'm not
guy?
saying you do. That's what I pictured immediately.
I know I haven't been going to the gym as much lately, but like, settle down.
I meant the hair.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. I gotta check that out. I don't know who this is, but I should probably watch more Simpsons too. But yeah, Alex Jones and Buck apparently agree. Oh no, I said commute the sentence. Because Buck's not going all the way. He's not a true patriot. He's not really committed to the cause. But I mean, I'm pretty pro Roger Stone. It is amazing the guy has a huge tattoo of Richard Nixon on his back. I mean, who would have thought that's a thing you would do? I mean, that guy literally went through physical pain to memorialize a resigned president on his skin. That's quite a move.
I would just say putting any president on your skin. How obsessed do you have to be?
That's true.
It's time for roll call.
Team Buck at iHeartMedia.com. If you want to send in the stuff to us, please do it that way. That's a good way to make the magic happen. And also Facebook.com/Buck Sexton if you want to do it on Facebook. Pretty self-explanatory there. David, all right, it's Buck, shields high. Buck, it has been my routine since you started America Now to stay up late and listen to you. Now I listen to you. Now I listen to Rush in the afternoon. I listen to the podcast of you during the day. Hopefully not for a while, but when Rush retires, you'd be a fantastic replacement. Shields high. Keep it up, David. Well, David, thank you so much. That is very kind. And Rush is the godfather of all talk radio, so that's as much of a compliment as you can give anybody. Here we go. My preferred name is Wyoming. But wait, when Tulsi Gabbard neglects to deny Hillary's accusation of being a Russian asset, that makes her guilty? Yet when Brett Kavanaugh vehemently denies the outrageous accusations leveled at him, his denial, along with him doing so at a slightly elevated volume, was all the proof the psycho left needed to claim his guilt. Seemingly intelligent people were actually heard to say he just sounded guilty. Did you hear him, his tone? Well, I heard some pretty high-volume denials coming out of Shrillery's testimony. But let me get back on track. Love the show, the histories, and obviously the impressions. Sorry Beto bit the dust, if only for the impressions, of course. But you know who will be back, won't you? Hillary! Oh, I took your advice how we need to stop cultural appropriation and ethnic insensitivity. And, all right, Shields high. Thanks so much, man. Thanks for writing in. John. Oh, no, we just did that one. Christy, good morning. Nope, that's like a sales thing. That's not good. Craig, Buck, I'm a longtime conservative who recently started listening to your podcast on Spotify. My wonderful wife immigrated from Ukraine 20 years ago. I'm very fond of Ukraine as my wife's motherland, Rodina, though I believe I'm realistic about its strengths and weaknesses. Almost no Americans, whether acquaintances, politicians, or commentators, seem to understand Ukraine. Judging by last night's podcast, you seem to really get it. Thanks for your clear, insightful analysis. Shields high. Boom. The Buckster knows things. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. I mean, it's nice. It's nice, Craig, when somebody actually gives a little shout out for doing the backstory and the research to learn about a place that everyone's talking about. That almost all of the people you hear talking about Ukraine right now have none of this context or understanding of the East versus the West and the Russian versus Ukrainian linguistic differences within the country and what that means culturally and what that means politically. No, they don't. They're just rap, 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 rap. I don't like the bad people in the deep state, and I know that, and I don't like the swamp rats and the Democrats and there's a lot of this running around these days. But some of us know some of us actually like to learn things and know things. Let's see what we got here. James. Hey, Buck. Government control of pharmaceutical prices? Are you celebrating 97 years of fascism? A fabulous question to ask about every government program or department is it constitutional? I'm right beside you laughing at the burn and Pocahontas, thinking taxing billionaires is a good idea. But from slightly higher up the knowledge ladder, I know that 90% of the country does not have federal income and hence does not owe federal income taxes. Huh? I suspect hubris has kept you in place of knowing without doing the research. Okay, this is another no one. Okay, this is our buddy. This guy keeps sneaking it under the radar. I'm like, who's this that says that none of us owe taxes? Oh, man. This is a good one. Yep. Don't, please, folks, important safety tip. Don't listen to someone who tells you that if you make money and the federal government says you owe them money, you don't have to pay them. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea at all. Let's see here. Next up on this one. Hold up a second. Adam! Buck, I have heard the phrase quid pro quo used a lot lately, but I prefer the English version. A deal. They are saying the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal tried to make a deal with someone. That's not news. Adam! Very clever, sir. Appreciate it. Hunter writes, Buck, the buckshot of truth. You're doing great work, man. Mark, you too, buddy. All right, a little high five for producer Mark. Don't swell his head up, guys, but he's doing a good job. In a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Thanks for speaking truth in a media world. Keep the revolution going. P.S. Your Beto voice sounds like Napoleon Dynamite. I haven't even seen that movie, but I totally think I understand what you're talking about. Because Beto's amazing, and he should totally just run for president as a third-party candidate. Andrew, hey Buck, you're the man. You love action movies, so I'm just wondering if you have seen Escape Plan with Arnold and Stallone. It's a great movie for what it is. It also has Vincent D'Onofrio, 50 Cent, and Jim Caviezel. Dialogue is a bit cheesy, but the action is great. By the way, never apologize for loving soccer. The English Premier League is a fantastic way to spend a Sunday morning. Shields high! Andy, thank you so much for writing in, my friend. I do appreciate it. Let's see here. David writes, Buck, I've enjoyed watching your hits on Tucker Carlson and other Fox News shows for a while now. More recently, I've been listening regularly to your podcast. I like your perspective and insight on current events. Plus, I appreciate your sense of humor. Sounds like the humor I do if I had a radio show. Keep up the good work. Man, David, you have excellent taste, sir. Thank you so much for writing in. And now let's switch to Facebook. All right, so we're roll calling. We're rolling with the roll call, and now let's see what we have here. Patrick writes. Oh, they're asking me on a show. That's a different thing. Okay, that's a request for me to do a show. Adam writes, Buck, if you have the unlimited plan through Verizon, you can get a year free. I can watch Fox News on the Roku channel. It's gotten better over the years. Shields high. Yeah, I got to find a way to be able to watch cable news without actually being a cable subscriber. But they also do this thing when you're a cable subscriber where when you try to unsubscribe, they always threaten you with some big cancellation thing because you have to inherently buy this like contract for cable for 2 or 3 years. So, you know, there's that. Are you a cord cutter, producer Mark? Do you have
I do not have
you're
cable.
Gen Z?
Yeah,
Or
I'm
you're a millennial?
I'm a millennial.
No, we've already talked about this.
Yes. I am a cord cutter.
Yeah. You are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have many ways to watch things.
I think my Verizon Fios costs almost. I think it costs $200 a month or something.
Oh yeah, that's
crazy.
ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Especially for one person.
It's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, I gotta cut the cord. I gotta do it. All right. Reminder to self. Let's see here. TJ. Whoop. Coming up. Buck, you should go read the reviews for Jack Ryan Season 2. Consumers have definitely taken note that they inserted a bunch of social justice warrior BS into the new season compared to Season 1. Also, I couldn't help but notice that many of the 5-star ratings for Season 2 were written before it was released in anticipation of the new season. Part of me hopes Amazon takes note of the terrible performance of this season and decides to make corrective actions for the next season. Would you consult if they asked you for a new season? Yeah, of course I'd consult. That show would be amazing if I consulted on it. So it wouldn't be any garbage. It wouldn't be any of this nonsense. Oh, social justice warriors. No! Damn it. They need the Buck Sexton to tell them how to make the things happen on the TV screen. That's the way to do it. That's the way to get it done. Yeah, I mean, also, I just think that there's not nearly enough action. The characters aren't. It's a bad. Season 2 is bad. It's just bad. Bad writing, bad storyline, bad plot, bad everything. Which is a shame because I actually, I know he's a big lib because they're all libs basically. But what's his name? The guy Jim from The Office. He's actually
John Krasinski.
Yeah, Krasinski. He's actually good. He's a good actor. I mean, I give the guy credit. He did a good job. He was solid in 13 hours. So I give credit where it's due, as you know. But the show is just crap. It's just garbage. It's just bad. And I'm not even going to make it all the way through. You know what else was really bad that still upsets me? I tried to watch a little more the other day. Is the Knights Templar show that was on History Channel for a while. How do you make the Knights Templar like cheesy and boring? They managed to do it. It was really, really bad. So that was bothersome to me. Let's see what we got here now. Kristen. Not sure what music your listener is referring to, but I listen to the podcast, but you do have some type of intro music that talks over you from time to time. Not sure. Kristen, I don't know. Let's just blame producer Mark for that. I don't know what to say beyond that. It's producer Mark's fault. Let's throw him under the thing is, though, he's very resilient, so when we throw him under the bus, he gets right back up afterwards.
I do. And I just yell at you for throwing me under the bus.
He's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about him. He's got a thick skin. Hey, this is from Thomas. I'm a fan. I listen to you on radio in Catskills of New York. Question. Well, thank you, Thomas. Is it possible for Facebook to put subliminal messages on ads or articles, stuff they do to alter our behavior? They did it in the 70s with TV commercials, and I just got this thought about subliminal projection stuff. I'm not nuts, just curious. Good subject to report on. Well, Thomas, thank you for listening to the show up in the Catskills. I don't think that look, I think Facebook is engaged in at a macro level, right, at that 30,000 foot level. Facebook is engaged in a campaign of shifting our understanding of a lot of things and directing conversation in ways that we are barely even able to be aware of. So I think that there is a reality to all of that. I think that is a thing that we have to remember. But I don't know about the subliminal messaging stuff. I'd have to look into that. Or maybe I do. Can neither confirm nor deny, CIA stuff. Robert, Brother Buck. Never mind. Whistleblower standards were not changed according to my fact check. Thank you. All right. All right, Robert. Well, thank you for clarifying that. I don't really know what's going on, but Jason. Hey, Buck. One of my biggest frustrations with the Jack Ryan season 2 was they completely lost the spirit of Ryan. Ryan has always been a man who will do what he believes is right no matter what, and they show this stubbornness of Ryan in this season. The problem is he's turned into a low-rent action hero. Jack has never been one to run away from a fight, but nor is he to go off playing Rambo. It makes me wonder if the writers read any of the Jack Ryan books. Jason, I agree. It's like they took a little bit like the Michael Mann remake of Miami Vice to do a contemporary Miami Vice that had almost nothing. I mean, yeah, you had a white guy who's a cop and a black guy who's a cop who are partners in Miami doing drug stuff. There was no like similarity between the characters, the storyline, or anything else. Miami Vice, the show, and Miami Vice, the movie. And this Jack Ryan series, if you're somebody who's read the books, I've read a few of them. I haven't read that many of them. I think I've only really read 2 or 3 of the Jack Ryan books, I think. My favorite was actually Debt of Honor. I love that book. Which, if you read it too, given that it came out in the 90s before September 11th, it's a little bit haunting what ends up happening at the end of that book. But yeah, no, the Jack Ryan thing's terrible. I mean, they should really just, like I said, somebody with connections out there should say, hey, Amazon, have Buck Sexton consult on your next project for Jack Ryan stuff, and then it will be amazing, and everybody will want to watch it. John, compare the fate of Aunt Becky and her kid with that of Dreamer's parents. Aunt Becky obviously broke the law, which benefited her child. Not only Aunt Becky paid the price, but her kid was thrown out of USC. If we treated them the same way as the Dreamer families, then Aunt Becky would get a slap on the wrist, and her kid would not only get to stay at USC, but would also get a scholarship. Avengers Endgame is entertaining. Uh-oh. The Mighty Ducks is not. I'll throw a bone to producer Mark. My wife's favorite movie is The Cutting Edge. Leave Commie Bear at the Blaze. Use Ruski Fat Cat instead. Oh, and Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas movie. Would
Just
you
do
like
me
to
a
respond
favor.
to our friend John about the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah, please block John from ever messaging us again.
Producer Mark does have all the social media access,
do.
so you can't make him too mad, or else all of a sudden you're out of the.
Arguably the worst take I've ever heard about a movie.
I've never seen it, so I would love
that's
I
an
would
even
love
worse
to take his part just to agitate you, but I
Yeah.
can't. I haven't seen it, so.
It's magical.
You know what
Magical
is a good movie
movies.
with Emilio Estevez? And I think it's the only one. I think there's one good movie with Emilio Estevez.
There's
and
3 of them.
Well, okay, that I've seen.
Sure.
That I've seen. Young Guns.
Okay.
You ever seen it?
I think so.
The Western?
Long time ago.
It's actually probably Lou Diamond Phillips' finest work as well. Emilio Estevez is really good in it. Charlie Sheen. Who knew where that guy was heading? Really, really good.
You didn't like 2.5 Men?
I was thinking post 2.5 Men.
Okay.
When he really has had some
Went
rough,
really crazy. Yeah.
rough times. Yeah. But he was he had quite a career for a while.
He did?
I saw Hot Shots Part 2 in the theater.
And Major League. That's a great movie too.
Oh, Major League 1 is a fantastic movie.
Major League 2 is okay. Major League 1, really good.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit like Caddyshack. Caddyshack 1, I mean, some people have been hating on Caddyshack recently. I've talked. Caddyshack 1 is a great movie. Caddyshack 2 is a really bad movie. Although you do have the gopher in both. And so when I was a kid, it was just worth it to watch the little fat gopher do his gopher dance.
Sure.
Used to be able to, they made toys of it. I kind of want to get the fat gopher for in here for the Freedom Hut. I
Just
feel like
put it
would
on your
go
desk?
well in here. Yeah, just put the fat gopher on the desk.
We should start getting some
know what I mean?
props.
Yeah. Fat gophers, fat cats. We talked about
Sure.
that with the Russian thing. That was my favorite story of the week, by the way. Douglas Buck, where is the accusation of bribery? Where there is, rather, an accusation of bribery or extortion, isn't the main witness against the accused the aggrieved party, i.e. the person bribed or extorted? So shouldn't the Democrats' main witness against Trump be the Ukrainians? Of course, except, of course, they won't think they were being bribed, or they don't think they were being bribed or extorted. Yes, this is an important point, Douglas. that people have been bringing up where the Ukrainians don't think that they were being pressured, that at least Zelensky has said this and others have said this. So how could they be pressured if they weren't aware they're being pressured? Now, Democrats are going to say they're just lying because Trump's the president. They don't want to upset him, but you raise a good point. I agree with you. Folks, this weekend, you're going to have some time to chill out, to catch up on Buck Sexton shows that you missed, and also to talk to other human beings who love America and freedom, which means it's a great time to tell them, hey, go on iTunes and download the Buck Sexton Show. It's the best radio show ever. Have a great weekend, everybody. Shields high.